The West Bank. Surrounded on three sides by Israel, the West Bank is one of Israel's occupied territories. In 2002, Israel began to build a wall, a security barrier per se, between them and the West Bank. When completed, this barrier will block all access between Israel and the West Bank except between checkpoints controlled by the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF. As you can see here, the wall is made of concrete in many places, not chain link as the barrier between the US and Mexico is. You can also see how extensive it is. In this picture, you can see a still unfinished section of the wall near the West Bank city of Rafat. An IDF watchtower can also be seen in the picture, which will be used to guard the wall. In this next photo is a completed section of the wall, which reveals its staggering height when compared to the person next to it. Israel claims the wall is necessary for security purposes, but it is related to numerous human rights abuses against the citizens of the West Bank. I am now going to take you to a village called Nilin in the central West Bank, on the western border with Israel, where several human rights abuses have occurred. At first glance, this appears to be a man attempting to look over the wall at Israel. But he is not looking over at Israel. He's looking over at what used to be the West Bank and his land. The wall is, for the most part, not being built along the Israel-West Bank border, but in the West Bank itself, putting parts of the West Bank on Israel's side of the wall. In this case, this farmer lost a large portion of his land to the wall, and with it went his livelihood. This next picture shows a peaceful protest against the wall. Peaceful protests against the wall are common in towns close to the wall as Nilin is. Unfortunately, the IDF often does not tolerate these protests and uses violence to stop them, as they can be seen doing here. Human rights abuses can be seen throughout the region, including in the next village we visit, Al-Walaja, in the southern area of the West Bank. Here we can see children playing soccer in the village, a sport popular in Palestine, as it is in much of the world. The difference between this image and other images of children playing soccer from around the world is that most other children do not have to play soccer with a massive concrete wall behind them. The wall in Al-Walaja is different from most of the other sections of the wall because, in other villages, the wall only separates the village from Israel. In Al-Walaja, it will, if built according to plan, completely surround the town. The plans are shown in this diagram, where the blue and yellow lines are where the wall would be. Under these conditions, there would be only one single exit and entrance in Al-Walaja, and it would be under the regulation of the IDF, who would have the power to deny the citizens of Al-Walaja the right to freely move within their own country. And here we can see one part of the still unfinished wall in Al-Walaja. The final village which I will guide you to is Bilin, another border town a little east of Nilin. Bilin also has many peaceful protests against the wall happening around the village, including the one shown here. The IDF's use of force to put down these protests is not limited to Nilin, as they often use violence in order to put down protests in Bilin and other villages also, such as the IDF soldiers here are shown doing. In Bilin, there is one man especially whose story needs to be heard. This man is Bassem Abu Rama. He was a resident of Bilin and an active participant in the protests against the wall. In this picture of him here, he can be seen flying a kite during one such protest, but despite his use of peaceful methods such as kite flying, some IDF soldiers saw it necessary to use force on one of Abu Rama's protests. A high-velocity tear gas canister was fired directly at Abu Rama's chest while he was protesting peacefully, and he was mortally wounded. No soldier was ever charged with any wrongdoing in his murder, with Israeli prosecutors citing a lack of evidence despite the existence of multiple videos showing his death.